I'm sorry.
See, don't start over there, Walter Strong. Don't start because we live now. Because y'all wanted to go live. I was down to just pre-record, but you gentlemen said, you know what? Let's go ahead and have the conversation. Let's go. Okay, Unfiltered Life. We live. We in the building. I don't know what episode this is because we've done a handful of them, and we
Second
here to
one
have a
live.
conversation. Real men having real conversations, real talk. See some folks jumping in already. We see our moderator extraordinaire, Mr. Kevin Cox, in the building. Appreciate you for being here and commenting, sir. Um, let's get into it, man. We had some topics. We've been talking. Some folks we've been talking already for about a half hour behind the scenes about just things that are going on. And Walter had a live stream earlier this morning on his channel and went into kind of the dialogue of the need for men to have fellowship, for the need for men to have synergy, that to have kind of a circle that they can call when things get tough, when things get to a point where, it's being pulled in a whole bunch of different directions for whatever responsibilities, and being able to have that circle where, I can call Walt, I can call Montell and be like, man, I may not have a whole lot I want to talk about, but man, I just, I need my brother with me there so we can at least converse and convene, that kind of thing. Let's get into some of that, man. And Walt, since it was your show earlier, and then Montell and I would just chip in, and then folks in the comments talk a little bit about the premise of that and what you give us the 35,000 foot level of what you were meaning to get into. Yeah, you see,
Okay.
I just threw you on the spot, right? You said you
No,
wanted to go
no.
live, so
You
we
said,
live, and
sure, but you threw that big college word at me. I was like, wait a
you
minute,
know,
what did you just say?
I may wear
But
a blue
no,
collar, but
I'm
I'm
great.
a white collar man. Monday through Friday. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, no, I'm so privileged and honored that you want to continue the conversation here on Unfiltered Life. This morning we talked about on Man Talk Live the importance of how to create a safe place for men to be able to talk. And you say, talk about what? But talk about manhood issues and reality that's important to us. Because as men, when we don't have a safe place where we feel safe, where we can come and talk to someone, whether if it's a men's group, if it's a men's fellowship, or just 10 men getting together in James man cave place where, we got some food, some wings, and we want to sit down and talk about manhood issues. We got to be able to create that safe place. And that starts with whether if you're the leader or the moderator, or if you're just a person who wants that type of place, it's got to be a safe place where a person feels comfortable in being able to come there because they have a need in them to want to be better. They have a need in them to want to do better, whether if it's to be a better husband, a better father, a better son, or just to be better all in becoming the man that they feel God has called them to be. And I find here on the East Coast, you guys can really educate me on the West Coast, that when men don't have that safe place, for all my WWE fans who are Roman Reigns, acknowledge him, put the one up. There is something called the island of relevancy. But unfortunately, sometimes we're on the island of irrelevancy and the island of isolation. And so in the episode, we want to just, provide that that conversation that, hey, it's important to be able to provide that safe place. And then the second thing we talked about is the message that you're communicating. From just my personal convictions and me being a man of faith, I believe it needs to be word based. It should be biblically based to help a man to be able to say, hey, whatever issues you're dealing with that's discouraging you, that's got you dealing with silent battles and frustrations, let's take it to what the word of God says, because David went through it, Moses went through it, Peter went through it, Paul went through it, and certainly Jesus went through it. So it's got to be word based. And then thirdly, you got to be able to have that place where you create, whether if it's in person or online through a virtual meeting through Zoom or a live stream like this. It's got to be a place where men feel welcomed, wanted, and needed. Because when I feel welcomed and wanted and needed, that lets me know that my opinion matters. And what I'm dealing with, there's someone who can identify with it, and they're willing to share not only their success, but their struggles, not only share their victories, but their pain. So those are just 3 tips that we talked about.
Oh, that right. We about to pass the communion plate, brother. Okay. We about,
I, I,
we about to. I got your
I,
site up on online on the screen here. I got your channel up, Real Men Rising. So, um, yeah, that's dope, Montell. So,
yeah,
right? I mean, we talk
yeah,
about this a lot,
I,
you and me, man. I know you chopping at the bit. Go ahead, man.
yeah, no, no, I think he's 100% right. We do need those places to be developed, and I think um, the hard part of it is that young men don't have an example. And what I mean by they don't have an example, they may have a few people that are locally around them, but the examples that we provide and that are pushed in the media world is like, how can I trust somebody when there's a person like Drake snitching on LeBron? How can I trust somebody when Young Thug is going through his thing and it's supposed to be his best friend and his colleague snitches on him? That's where we start to see that big distrust amongst our community, and especially as men. And then also those safe spaces like you were talking about that I think that are definitely warranted in our era, in our age. Our safe space and our friends are starting to pass away.
Mm,
Like
Mhm,
they're starting to go away, unfortunately. So it makes our circle that much smaller,
mhm,
very that much smaller. And we come from a different era where we don't talk, we don't do those things, and we were brought up that way. This
mhm,
next generation, I don't think they even have an example of that. They don't know what it means to have that circle where you can depend on a friend, and that friend, you can hold that friend accountable. You can hold that friend to he'll listen to you without having passing any judgment. He will
mhm,
be able to, if you need money and he has it, he'll be able to loan it to you. And because you guys have that bond and that trust. I don't know if that's there for the youth. Like for us,
mhm,
we're gonna be able to get pie. Like we closer to the death than we is to the light, right? Just
mm,
to be honest,
mhm.
because of our age.
Okay.
So we kind of understand it. I would love to be a premise where we set up for the next generation to be able to have that. And I don't think they have an example, a willing example to be able to show that. Maybe just the guys around their home. And let's be honest with us, that homeboy stuff. Everybody talks about my homeboy and my dog and my day one and all that. Our generation, we can hold them solid and they cool. This other generation,
Mhm,
like I said, the examples they have are snitches, or they tell their business. I mean,
mhm,
talking about their infidelities, talking about whatever they wedge that distrust in there. So bringing that manhood discussion together, that brotherhood together, it's a lot more difficult for these last couple of generations than it is for us,
okay.
in
So
my opinion.
let me ask you this because I'm gonna put the mirror up in front of us. Okay,
Absolutely.
we had it as well. We're late 40s, early 50s. I'm not going to say all of my age, but I'm just going to say what it is. Uh, why are the young cats not have someone, right? Isn't it onus on us to kind of show the generations that are coming behind us to respect, open the door, pay? How come we haven't taken the responsibility of showing the young cats that this is not what you should be doing? This is what you should be doing. This is how you conduct yourself. This is how you approach how you represent yourself and your family when you go out in public. All that thing. I almost
I,
think that
I
a lot of the onus is on us, and instead
mhm,
we've turned it onto these social media devices. We've
no,
turned it onto these entertainment people. We've turned it onto these athletes instead of us, the uncles, the brothers, the cousins, the dads, owning the house
but
ourselves.
but what do you do with that situation when the uncles and the dads and all of them follow into the same mode as them? You know what I mean? As far as that young generation, they still want to be a part of that. And what I mean, and you're right, onus on us is for us to kind of hand it down.
Hmm.
But when there's so much resistance from the youth or the younger generation, they don't want nothing to, they don't, a lot of them don't want anything to do with that part of us. They think we're too old school. We look at things so different. It don't work like that anymore. But respect is respect, right? Down
Hmm.
the line, no matter what age you are. Let's be candid. They have a lack of respect for elder. They have a lack of respect for women. They have a lack of respect for a lot of different things, and entertainment has a big piece to play in that. When you're raised on that, when you're raised, like I always tell people, we had a balance in our entertainment, right? We had good and bad. For every menace
mhm,
society you had, we had a house party,
mhm.
right? We had
Okay.
we had we did we had contrast. These kids today that's been growing up in these last 2 generations haven't had any contrast. It's one way all the way. That drill music, that drill entertainment, those types of things. You know, sexism is an all-time high with women. They treat women like that way. They do a lot of different things, and I'm talking about more of the masses. And you can disagree with me or not. And a lot of them don't have a lot of. Let's be real. Got a lot of good parenting. There's not a lot of parents. Our folks always say, when you turn 18, you grown, you do what you want to do, right? That's kind of the novelty in our communities. You 18, you grown. Well, I think at 18, you're probably the most mentally dumbest person in the world because
I
you're in
know I
you're in
wouldn't.
the
I know I
crossroads.
wouldn't right at 18. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the crossroads. You're coming from a place where you've been taken care of all of your life as a teenager for 17 years, 364 days, 23 hours, and 59 minutes. You have a parent there that's been for most of your life been taken care of, or an adult's been there for you. And at that particular age, they tell you now you're an adult. You have all these adult responsibilities. Half of them don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to do adult responsibilities. I know I didn't. I didn't know how to pay no bills. I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to do all this. I didn't know I was responsible for putting a deposit down on the part. I didn't know any of those things. And that's not a bad thing. I was blessed enough to have a mother and an uncle that kind of guided me through the way when I needed some of those things. They don't have that now. They really don't, especially when you don't have another parent. When your older parents are barely struggling and surviving right now. How are they going to be? They got to learn from somebody that's struggling and surviving, trying to just make ends meet for the day. It's really hard for you to learn from that person because the cycle becomes habitual. And we're talking about this thing of we're all ultimately talking about this thing of trust and being able to trust your other brother. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the person you can only trust is your right hand man, and if he's doing dirt, guess what? I'm probably gonna ride with dirt
Yeah.
with him.
Mm-hmm.
If
That's
he's
an
doing,
interesting point there too, and
yeah,
because I think I've talked to you, and I want to hear your take too. On I've talked to you,
Okay.
Montell, about this as well. I keep the circle real close, right? There's a gang of acquaintances. There's a handful of very small handful of friends. I count them
Mm-hmm.
on one or two hands, and then there's family, obviously, but it's just love them or leave them, whatever the case may be. You can't. It is what it is. So you main tap, but the acquaintances are large because those are the folks where again you just high and by on the holidays or whatever, give them a little dap on the street with that kind of thing. But there's only again 4, 5, 6 folks that know every single thing about me or that I really can call if we need something. If I got to go hootie hoo and say, hey, something's jumping off, I know X, Y, and Z persons are going to show up. Everyone seems to be for themselves now. Again, kind of like you were saying, and those bonds, those relationships, especially in men, especially in Black men,
Mm-hmm.
haven't seemed to have progressed in a good way over time. And I just wonder why it is. Why it is that Montell that you feel so strongly for the fact that again the young cats of the day just don't have anyone around them. And I'm trying to find the cause and reason. Right? I want to
I,
say it's entertainment. I want to say it's the music. I want to say it's social media. I want to say it's whatever, or it's the broken home or whatever the case. But again, there's got to be an answer to this problem. There's got to be an answer to this problem. I'll let you two chop it up. What's up with you, Florence? We see you.
Mm-hmm. I think that
go ahead,
and
Walter.
Montell brings a lot of great points, but from growing up here, living on the East Coast,
Hmm.
for me, I believe it's because of as men, we stop coming to the table, whether if that table is the
Wow.
kitchen table or the living room table. Let me elaborate for you. When I was growing
Mhm.
up, when it came to the kitchen table, I would have my uncles coming from Alabama, Mobile, Montgomery. They come to my grandmother's house, and I'm sitting there with my stale water, trying to mimic and imitate with them with their bottles of alcohol and whiskey. And I remember someone taking a picture of me with my shirt open, just like their shirt. Was it a positive image and a thing that I was around in terms of what they were doing? No, it wasn't positive. But the simple fact that they felt it was important enough to pull me in to let me sit amongst them as men. And yes, that I obeyed that rule. You stay out of grown folks' business when grown folks are talking. So I stayed silent. But just the simple fact of being pulled in. And so as men, why are most of our younger generation, this generation, not being able to feel that safe place where they can come in to talk about their manhood issues and their drama, it's because we stopped coming to the table. And instead of coming to the table, let me talk to today's generation of men. We're in our man caves watching Monday Night Raw. We're in our man caves watching Monday Night Football. We're in the studio trying to lay our next track because we've been out of hip hop for so long, but we wanted to make the next record when our music career is way past us, but we're still in the studio. Okay, we're in the studio going live right now as men, and we would have kind of planned this, we'd have said, okay, when we do this episode, bring a young man and let him sit next to us if we really had planned this out. So yes, this is spontaneous. But for the majority of us as men, we're in the studio trying to go live, chasing views, chasing subscribers. That's when it comes to the kitchen table. Then we're not at the dining room table. We're not at the living room table where kids can see us while we're having conversations, like you James and Montell are having conversation, having a good meal, having a nice little beverage, and just playing some, I'm gonna, Google this for some of you that it may be a little over your heads. You're listening to the Crusaders, you listening to Joe Sample, you listening to Pat Metheny, you listening to Norman Brown. Notice I didn't say NWA.
I'm about to say,
I
you
realize
flashing
I
back
grew
right
up
there.
on.
These youngsters ain't ready for that. You flash it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Oh my
I mean, yes, I listened to F the Police and I listened to the Dope Man. I do remember NWA. I do remember Public Enemy. But there did come a time in my life where my life kind of switched, where now I'm embracing that. And so why do I bring that up? Because I remember there was a time when my dad and his best friend Peter, along with my mother and his Peter's wife, they were all sitting down having dinner together. I'm in the room with the other kids. I should be playing like the rest of them, but I'm drawn to it. I'm drawn to the conversation of Peter and my dad, and just hearing my dad laugh and enjoy himself while he's eating food. One of the few times where I hear him laughing and enjoying it, where he's not screaming and yelling at me because I'm in trouble about something as a young man. But that stuck with me. It's been burnt into my head. And I think, to Montell's point, we need to create moments like that for those of us who are in the home. Yes, you're providing for the family. You're protecting for the family. You know how to protect your car. You know how to protect your home. But are you protecting those moments for our sons and our daughters? But in particular, our young men, that's how we're going to create a safe place. And I think it starts with us. And because you know what? We could easily talk to another generation, or race of people like that are Jewish or Italians. They hold to those principles, right? From what I've seen through movies and different documentaries, they hold to those principles. But to us, we got work to do. So
How do we do that?
See, let me add to that before we go. So
Go ahead.
I think one of the things, you're right. They needed an example, and I think I give my sons a very good example. My sons, well, for my, rest in peace, my boy Tim passed away. My best friend, my brother. They saw our relationship. They saw the trust. They saw how that was a bond that could never be broken, right? Because they saw when, if I was in need, Tim was there to help. If he was in need, I was there to help him, no matter what the situation was. So they got a chance to witness this. My sons. I don't think the generations, or even just our generation, people, period, they don't get a chance to witness that. And if they don't get a chance to witness that or see that, then they don't know. And you can't be judged by what you don't know. And the things they do see are the disarray within the hip hop community, right? Because they air their public beef out, they air their issues out, they air their distrust out. So if millionaires can't trust each other, how can I trust my brother down the street? Because that's my only example. That's my hero. If the athletes can't trust each other, and I see them bickering and arguing and telling on each other, well, if they can't trust each other, how I'm going to trust the brother down the street? And as we get older, the more we need, right? We need that bond. We need to be able to have that
Let's talk
understanding, that
about
relationship
that.
with other guys.
Let's go down that
To be able
path,
to
man.
talk.
Yeah.
So, but if you don't have anything, if you don't know how to trust, you don't know how to trust. So if you don't know how to trust when you're 3, you don't know how to trust when you're 10, you don't know how to trust when you're 18, you don't know how to trust when you're 25, and you ain't gonna know how to trust when you're 35, because you haven't seen an example of trust. Everything around it's homeboy stuff. Oh, what's up, man? You know, da 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 da. But I'm talking about trust and having conversations, having deep conversations about what you're going through, having deep conversations to celebrate your wins and talk about your losses. Talk about your sexuality. Talk about what we black men do not have that. A lot of them don't have that. They
Yeah.
don't have that safe space. That's why we internalize so many things within, and we have a high rate of high blood pressure because we have to internalize that. And plus, we've been taught that all of us. Don't show emotion. Be strong no matter what the situation is, and don't tell your business. That's something that's been ingrained in us. I know it's been ingrained in me.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have a hard time sometimes releasing, but I've had examples to see how that brotherhood works, so I know how it works. This next generation, man, they don't have that. They don't have it at all. They don't have it in the media. They don't have it in the entertainment. And if they don't have it at home, I don't know where they learn it. Because I know you're gonna say the church, and the church is a great place to go.
I was
I'm
going
all for
to
more
add
church.
that, but okay.
Church is a wonderful place to go, but a lot of kids are resistant to. They're turned off by church. They don't want to go, and for whatever reason that is, it is what it is. I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. But I'm saying if you can't witness and see those things or have examples of it, it's very hard for you to emulate and build that bond and that trust and around men and other men to be able to share your your opinions and your thoughts and all that stuff without being judged.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's not going to judge because what happens is now and I know this because my sons are young. You'll tell somebody something, yo man, da 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 da. First of all, that motherfucker, you know, man, I got this wonderful job. I got that motherfucker. You know, behind his back, he'll say, "Oh, cool, man, I'm proud of you and all that." Next minute, he ain't nobody, man, whatever.
Yeah.
He
Crab in the barrel
he
kind of
better than us
situation.
he going to school, so he think he better than us. That wasn't even the case, man. I thought we was cool enough where I could share my celebrations, and you're gonna tell me your celebrations, but yet when I share my celebrations, I get looked down upon, or I get clowned, or I get think. That makes me now push even away from what I thought so far was my circle.
What you doing over there reading? Yeah, you know. Right.
Yeah. Why you like those video games so much? Why you over there writing code? Oh, just anything you do, man. And like you get judged, and we get judged in our community. Let's be real. We get judged for positivity. We get judged for positivity, and we get celebrated for negativity. We celebrate the guy coming out of a jail, or we'll clown the guy that's graduating from high school.
My gosh. My God. All right.
We'll celebrate the gangbanger that shot 15 people and got away with it, but we won't celebrate the brother that's a brain surgeon. Why do we know more about gangsters than we do people that's been successful in our history? And I'm talking about these young kids. Bro, we got a lot of work to do in our community because our examples of heroes are not. Our examples of heroes are beyond one Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and two the hood heroes got more clout than the historians. Which
Man,
to
that's
me,
sad. That's
already
sad.
sets
I
the
was
bad.
quiet for
Already
a
sets the
second because I
bad
wanted that to
example.
marinate, but you're absolutely right. Let me say this, and then just as a segue, and then we'll continue going on. I see a gang of folks jumping in and joining. Please come in, add your commentary, add your insight as well. But that's one of the main reasons behind this right here, behind this Unfiltered Life. This is not a sexy show, right? This is not entertainment tonight. This is not for the young kids. This is not the Mr. Beast. This is not Shay Shay. This is not Shannon Sharp and Ocho. This is hard conversations. And I told you guys, and I'll keep the name in confidence. But one of the cast is supposed to be a host with us during the week as well. Called me up the other day about our previous episode and said, "Man, y'all got into some real conversation." And I keep wanting to bring the onus and the responsibility back on us, the 40, 50, 60-year-olds, to reach back and talk to the youngsters. I'm not blaming us. I'm not blaming anyone, but I think we have a responsibility to do something like this. Again, to have a non-sexy show, but to have real conversations and to actually get up, get out, and reach out. Go to the YMCAs, go to the boys clubs, go to the scout meetings or whatever, and just be there. And be ready for that young cat who actually wants to pull you to the side. Say, hey, hey, Mr. Allen, let me holler at you for a minute. I don't think enough of us are doing that today. And especially, again, we're talking about a lot of folks. We talk about men specifically, but we're specifically wanting to make sure that the Black and brown, the minority communities, because they're the ones that are falling off and are not getting the attention. we hear about a lot of other folks, but listen, I got to take care of home. We got to take care of ourselves, and it's the importance of making sure that you as a collective, you as a people, you as a society are taken care of. It's not a sexy conversation again, but it's a necessary conversation. And again, that's why we'll see where this experiment of Unfiltered Life goes. But again, this is going to be one of them things that, again, it's not going to get all the clicks, it's going to get all the likes, not going to get all the stuff, not going to get all the attention. But hopefully later on in the week, someone will play like a replay of this, and it'll spark something. And they'll be like, man, I can go do something. I can go
Mhm.
holler at the kid down the road who's I always see throwing rocks at cars and be like, man, why are you doing that?
Yeah,
Maybe
and
they don't. Maybe
you
they don't
just hit.
have someone in their life that they can talk to about what's really going on. So I just wanted to throw that little caveat in
No,
there
no,
because
no.
again, we're doing what we
I think
do. We're trying to stay above the noise. That's what we always do. Go ahead, brother.
no, I think you're absolutely right. But we need to, like we always say that now is we need to peel back the onion and understand the why. We
Mm,
really do need to understand the why. Like, why is it like that? Why is a person telling on somebody else's business? Why is that? Why are we not be able to build these silos for us to be able to come together and talk? Why why don't we have that first? Why is our circle so small? Like you
Mm.
said, you only got a couple of people in your circle. I got a few people. I only got my circle's probably even smaller. And
yeah.
I don't
Mhm.
trust a lot of people. I really just don't. I don't trust a lot of people because I think a lot of people have ulterior motives. But I'm willing to share what I have when someone asks me about it. And I'm willing to volunteer what I have when I talk to people. Uh, um, but we need to ask why. Why
Mhm.
is it like that? I mean, is it because we pull so far back from the church? Is it because of hip hop? Is it because of entertainment? Why hasn't the distance grown so far instead of us growing closer? Because the information's there, right? There's
Mhm.
information always there that we know what's how to build these things, we know how to do these things. But why is there such a distrust in our community? And then why is there such a distrust among men? And then why are men's circles so small,
Yeah.
especially in our black community?
Yeah. So Walt, I want you to answer that, but let me give
Mm.
Montell some flowers here, and he didn't know these were
Mhm.
coming. But yeah, you
Mhm.
say your circle is small, but you do have the heart in the right place because of what you do with the
Mhm.
youth, especially around sports and sponsoring a lot of events, sponsoring charity games, doing the food drives every year. Listen, every year when I see you on TV and you talk about bring a can of corn or something to support these youth, so you are putting action behind the words.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
we all have our lanes, and we all have our chosen paths that we want to go to. So you may not necessarily let anyone into the front door. You may not let everybody into the house and sit down at your table, but you have that wherewithal to make sure that no one gets left behind, right?
Mhm.
Especially the young athletes, because again, I'm going to tell some of your business. You come from football, and you get your sons that play, sons that coach, and you know what the dynamics is of that being recruited and making sure you get your film right. So you're helping youth athletes get the scholarships, get in front of the right coaches. So you're doing the work from that perspective. So there's the man of action. There's a man who's actually out there doing something to be positive and progressive. We don't have to go out
Uh,
there and try to boil the ocean, but do our part. So I
yeah,
wanted to give them flowers right there. I know you're a
I,
modest man, but I'm gonna
I
give these
appreciate.
flowers here on a Saturday
I,
morning.
I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. But it's to me sometimes it's not enough. I don't
Mm,
remember. I don't even remember the ones that are successful. A lot. I mean, I do, but I mean, I don't remember the ones successful. I remember the ones I failed. I remember those ones. Those ones hit me harder than
Mhm.
the ones that are successful. The kids that I got scholarships for, I see them, and sometimes I don't remember their face, remember their name, but
yeah.
I still remember the kid that really wanted it, and I wasn't able to help. So to
Mm.
me, sometimes it's not enough. And thank you for call to action. I do have a very big passion for teen homelessness because I don't think it should be there. And the little bit of canned goods I get delivered or the food that we were able to create and generate, me and my partner Ruben, that we're able to generate for the community, it's such a small staple. We're trying to make a dent, and we hope it makes a dent. But I mean, it's such a small thing to a bigger problem, right? We're just chipping away at a big old rock that I don't know if it's successful or not, to be honest with you. I hope it is. I
Mm.
hope it helps a lot of people.
You doing it.
But
You doing it. And I love
Mm.
the fact that you did use the term dent. So literally behind me, and I've told a couple of folks, well, y'all know I used to work for Apple for 10 years. And right here behind me on my wall is Steve Jobs' quote about putting a dent in the universe. That's
yeah,
Mhm.
all I'm trying to do.
I
Not trying to
appreciate
boil the ocean, not trying to change the
it.
trajectory of the planet, just trying to put a dent in the universe and do what it is that we can. Okay, I'll be quiet. Walter,
No,
go
no,
ahead, brother.
appreciate
Go
it. Thank you.
ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great segue. But back to your question in terms of what can we do?
Mhm.
I think with a lot of men's groups, men's fellowships, whether if we're talking about the church or we're talking about just 12 men who have a relationship with being at work together, and they want to get together and have a game of baseball, get together with a game of playing football, and then having that fellowship time. I think as ideas are shared and then moved upon, not just shared, but moved upon, things can be put in motion. I think the simple fact that Montell is involved with football as a coach and he's working with a lot of young adults, where you can connect with a youth group within a church that maybe youth are having difficulties in wanting to come, and to say, hey, look, Montell is going to partner with us, and we're going to, since you guys are on the West Coast, we're going to go at a game and watching the Rams play, and we're
Mhm.
bringing youth to be with us. It's going to be all young boys, so it's going to be big brother, little brother, and we're going to have a game and watching the Rams, or if not the Rams, with the Dodgers, and then having that
There you go. You got
interaction.
me in the room now. We're going to watch the Dodgers.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not a
Okay, there
Stafford
we
dude.
go. So
So
I
okay.
found this team, but
Mhm.
whatever sporting event it is, bringing young males with us
Mm.
at the game, and it may be the first time for them to go to a game and to
Yeah.
go to that experience. But the simple fact that they were with us, we brought them to the table. That's going to help and encourage them instead of focusing on what Kendrick Lamar is saying versus Drake, versus what LeBron is saying or what KD is saying.
Mm.
They're going to remember that when the teacher says, "What was your special moment this year from 2024 as you go into 2025?" And they go, boom, yeah, I remember I was sent to and I went to this thing with some men that were in the community. We went to the football game, we went to the basketball game. Or if you say, well, that's a little pricey. Well, if you connect with someone who's a part of the foster care, and I've been really pondering this idea because it's been turning for the last couple of days. You partner with someone in the foster care system, and you say, hey, can have a day where the men in our church or the group of our men in our community can come and just spend a couple hours with the young people just to encourage them,
Mm.
especially if they're kind of discouraged because they thought they were going to find a family that's going to adopt them, and now they're discouraged. But just to have that visit once a month, and I got the idea from Annie from Jamie Foxx's movie, and I said, man, if I could be a part of something like that,
Go ahead, brother.
that's bringing our young people to the table, so that way when they come out of the foster care system,
Yeah.
now they have an example. That's how you
Uh,
create a safe place for men to feel welcome, wanted, or needed.
I'm gonna ask you a how question,
Okay.
both of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was helping a school,
Mhm.
college, university, to help kids get in school. That they have one of the most unique programs across the country, where a kid that has a GPA as low as a 1.7, they can get them admitted to a 4-year university based on the conditional admission, as long as they complete the summer program. And I reached out to so many kids, and nothing. I mean, few went, but no one wanted to take advantage of it. And a lot of them blame it on the distance because it's far away. It's in Minnesota from California. But I reached
Mhm.
out to so many kids to take advantage of that, to build that building block.
Mhm.
But there's a wedge there because they're resistant to the information. They're
Mhm.
resistant to doing those things. And some of it, they're just scared, right? They're scared to leave where
Mhm.
they're comfortable, And I understand those things, but how are we going to be able to build that trust to help them break that cycle? Because I don't know how to do it. I really don't. I try my hardest to try to figure it out. I try to get schools involved, to try to get community groups involved, to try to get all these things involved. But again, people are like, oh no, it's their decision. They're 18 now. No, you
Mhm.
need to encourage them to wedge them in that wedge them to what the right decision is, instead of just leaving it up to them. Because let's be honest, a kid that's 18 is only going to do what he's comfortable doing.
Yeah.
You know,
And parenting
they're
doesn't
not allowed
stop at
to.
18, right?
Yeah,
I got 23 and a 20-year-old. We still parenting, right? It doesn't stop just
yeah,
because
yeah.
someone is 18.
Right.
But and not
And
even parenting. I'm talking about mentoring, coaching, and all
Yeah.
this stuff.
mhm.
People just hey, they're about to graduate. They do what they want to do. I'm not going to get involved with that. Which that mindset already makes me upset. I don't like when people do that. So I reach back. I mean, I'm still getting kids recruited from 2000. Most colleges are moving on to 2026. I'm still
Mm.
trying to get the last group of 2025 kids recruited because there's availability and there's homes. I want to get them the shot, but I'm talking even outside of sports. Go to this school, they can get you in. You can, it may not be the most ideal area where you want to be in or most thing, but it's also a spot where you can actually get your secondary, post-secondary education, get yourself basically set up for life because you do better with a degree than you do without the average person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So why not put yourself in a situation to win? And I'm talking about the ones that are on the low totem pole, where everybody told you you can't go to college because your GPA is low. You're not gonna make it. You're not this. You're not this. This is another opportunity for you to go, and they don't take advantage of it. And I don't know how to build that trust. I don't know how to build that bond. I don't know how to make them open up. I don't even know how to help them convince because it becomes that mechanism where they just shut down.
I
And
wonder if it's, and I'm going to paraphrase kind of what Ms. Cox said about the maturity and they don't see the opportunity. I wonder if it's because, again, there's work involved, right? It's not a quick solution. It's not, hey, I'm going to go in here, boom, I'm going to tell you who I am and you're going to give me all this money, you're going to give me all this opportunity. I got to go through the process. I got to go to 4 years. I got to go to 6 years. I got to do all this work, man. And I'm just being facetious and talking like a 17, 18-year-old or someone who wants to get that bag real quick. I need this money right now. I need this job. I need this education. I need this status and this clout. I don't want to work for it. Folks done messed around and got soft for somehow reason. Who knows? But I wonder if it's has something to do with that.
But it goes around that bonding issue, like you said. If I see brothers bonding and I see an example of brothers that went to school and someone successful, I get to see that. Okay, I want to go be that. Right? I can trust somebody sharing that I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I hear the kids talk. I know they're afraid. You're scared to go somewhere because you ain't never been there before. I get it. But I'm giving you an example of somebody that I know that went there that wasn't afraid that I can click you up with, so he can help you manage yourself through the process. But we still don't. There's something, man, that's there, and our community is broken. And I try to figure it out and pinpoint it. And maybe it's a collective things that are broken. But I'm really big on getting our young men and women educated because that's the only equalizer we got. We can't assimilate because our skin color is different. Where we come from is completely different. The way the things we learn are different. But the one equalizer is that education piece. And we got to be able to build some type of trust with these young brothers and young sisters and be like, yo, how can I help? How can I help you? And what can I help you with? That one starts trust, right? If you can deliver. Once you deliver that, then it's like, okay, what else do you need to support you? I don't have a lot of money, but I can give you all the knowledge I can give you to make sure you're successful and show you avenues of ways to go get the money you need to take care of yourself. Again, I'm delivering and trying to make sure there's a situation there. But
What came to my mind, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, Montell,
go ahead. No.
was, and I'm not sure if you've already tapped into this avenue, but tapping into with communicating with the alumni of the schools.
Oh, yeah. They come out here. I've flown them out here. I've flown them out here.
Okay. And the reason why I asked that because my daughter, she just recently came back from, before going back to school, she went to Manhattan. They took about 20 to 30 students from Syracuse University that provide, in demonstrating their academic success. And they said, we're going to take you down to MetLife company. We're going to take you down to NBC. In their field of what they're majoring in, and they paid for their hotels, they paid for their food. She just had to basically pay for a train for her to just go down there, and they basically exposed them to that. And so now that she's getting ready to go to Madrid, Spain, and I believe March on spring break to do the same thing, just kind of said to me, okay, if they're interested in working with students that are on campus, are there alumni that are willing to have conversations with individuals like yourself that's on the West Coast and say, okay, they're gonna be maybe 2 or 3 of us gonna fly out and kind of answer or address some of those concerns. I'm afraid to leave home. I'm concerned about my grades. I'm concerned about being such a mama's boy because I didn't have an example of what it means to grow up from being a young boy in the hood to being a man now, but I'm more of a mama's boy. How do I transition and get from under mama and then having someone to have those conversations? I mean, have you had an opportunity? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what has kind of worked? And if there has been some interest, has it been not, has the seed been planted? Has it been watered? Because something like
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of long term, but when you plant it, you water it, you get rid of the weeds and just trust the process. Eventually, it's going to bring some fruit. Your thoughts?
No, I've
Mm-hmm.
done all that. I've had the people that got accepted to school to come have an event at UCLA. I've had the president of the
Mhm,
school fly out here to come talk to people, which was really not a no-show. My family was there, maybe one or two other kids.
mhm,
It's something that's there that I don't know how to even address or fix, because I said the point now where I get so frustrated. I'm like, you let's take sports away from it, because sports is limited no matter who you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It has an expiration date. You could be the best. LeBron's gonna have an expiration date. Everyone has
mhm,
expiration dates as far as what they compete and they can play in. I'm talking about the long money is the educational.
mhm,
Why? From that point on, I'm talking about the original what you said, building this community and this trust around this. I'll just take it to
mhm,
another level. Where is that break when it comes to things that are good for you, things that
mhm,
can give you an advantage? And I truly believe college is not for everybody, but everybody deserves the opportunity to go to college. So
mhm. I
if there's
agree with that.
opportunities there, and there's a way you can manage it and you can have it, why is there such a big distrust in us fulfilling it? I don't believe in it. The junior college system works for some people, and that's right. That works for people that don't get into four-year universities, or people that need a cut as far as financially and all these different things. I think the JC has definitely built a set infrastructure. But when there's an infrastructure for them to be able to go to a four-year university, we cut it off. We don't even entertain it. And I got a program that takes you when you have a 1.8 GPA, 1.7 GPA. They put you in
Mm,
a program to make sure you
No
pass it.
excuse.
Once you, yeah, once you pass it, you're automatically admitted into the school. Guess what? From that point on, they make sure you work through the financial aid system to see how much you can get. From that point
mhm,
right on, they'll say, "Hey, we can get you a campus on job. We're already going to make sure we provide housing for you. We're going to do all these things for you just to get your foot in the door." Some of them, when
mhm,
they do kick the door in, there's one or two that make it all the way through. But the retention rate of it, because they resort back, they don't trust. They're
mhm,
going to go back to what they're familiar with. This is uncomfortable for them.
mhm, mhm.
I I'm asking, how do we bridge that gap or break that gap? And one or two is cool, but that's not enough. If
Agreed. Agree.
a program like that should have thousands of kids lining up to do it, because there's thousands of kids that told them they can't do it, or circumstances preventing them to get the great grades they need to go to school.
Mm.
If this is available to you, man, I don't care. And I take the same for now from sports. If they told me,
Mhm,
hey, after high school, the only place you go play football is in Beirut, I was going to Beirut to go play football because I had such a passion for it,
Yeah.
right? And
mhm,
I wanted to know what came with it. We
mhm,
need to put that same emphasis, that passion in education. Like you really, I can't stand when people say you don't need a degree, you don't need to go to college to be successful. Okay, you don't. You're absolutely right. But let's look at the percentages. I
mhm,
guarantee you, more successful people have degrees than the ones that don't.
mhm,
And the
mhm,
ones that don't usually come from an affluent background that can help them, assist them, that can guide them on the way how to be
Mm.
successful without a
Boy.
degree.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't have that. I don't have that lineage in my family. I come from a bunch of survivors. I
mhm,
want to build that. And most of us come from survivors. People that are just trying to make ends meet just to make sure they can provide for us as family and keep a roof over our head.
mhm,
Those people come from somewhere where their family was already starting from three. So not the silver spoon in their mouth, but they already own businesses. They do those things. So the percentage of having a degree and being successful and not having a degree, man, is the percentages are crazy. You need
Yeah.
to get a
mhm,
degree, or at least
mhm,
explore the opportunity of getting a degree. And we can't be taking these gap years off. Oh,
mhm,
he's gonna go figure it out for a couple of years and go, and then see if he really wants to go. By that time, you already left behind. The train is
mhm,
already moving and it's gone.
Got to keep moving.
So
Yeah.
I need you guys' help, our community help, or anybody help.
mhm,
How do we start to build that trust, that circle, that brother and that sisterhood that can help pull that in? And I've done
mhm,
everything you said. Bringing people out here, having them talk to mentors,
mhm,
having them do all those things. I've done all those things, and there's still that distrust. And I'm not
mhm,
quite sure how to mend that and how to
Mm-hmm.
start that. Because if we start that trust, then we can start that brotherhood and sisterhood.
Well, let me do this. Let me do a station break real quick because now I want to pivot and go somewhere,
Okay.
and I'm gonna throw some salt on the wounds. And y'all know I'm crazy, but when the cameras is rolling, and shouts out to Mr. Williams in the building, man over here texted me, and we live, and I'm like, brother, and that's why I had to go off camera. Mr. Williams, you should be on this show, Unfiltered Life. The topic for today is just we talking about the topic of the day. And we, the cats wanted to go live today instead of recording, so we live. It was an impromptu session, but Tuesdays and Saturdays is when this this series goes, and you would be a good fit. I didn't reach out to you originally to be a co-host. I'm putting business out in the street, is because you were traveling globally at the time when I was putting this together. But you are definitely welcome to be part of this forum. Florence, you too. You've been asking some good questions, and hopefully we've been addressing them. So appreciate you for asking those questions. And Mr. Cox, you always bring the truth, so we appreciate you for that. So let me ask this, because Montell and Walt, you were talking about having opportunity, needing to continue to be always educating, always learning, and that's for everyone. That's especially important for us. But now with this climate that we have right now in 2025, with 47. Then y'all read between the lines. I don't like saying certain names, but it's not in 2025 when we got 47 sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania. There was a flurry of documentation that was signed on day one, which started limiting resource, that started limiting access, that was really targeted towards going in a different direction, and that direction I think is backwards. Now I had this chat with my son 2 days ago, right when he saw the Equal Employment Opportunity Act being revoked. And again, I'm also a man that we show up early. We 15 minutes early so we can be on time. We pressed, we proper attire, and we come prepared with the information. It was always hard. Now it's even harder. Now it's even harder for my son to get that internship that he's looking for at Nike or wherever he is, because he's trying to get that right now. And I'm saying, again, brother, show up 15, 20 minutes early, know all your stuff, have your presentation right, speak, look at folks, talk to folks, don't talk at folks, that kind of thing. But programs and just there's a lot of turmoil that's happening in this country right now. And how do we progress around that? How do we bring about the messages of now things not longer being as covert and now they're overt? How do we encourage the youngsters? And I like how everyone was saying, yeah, we need to reach them younger, right? Not just trying to wait till they're 17, 18 years old. Go ahead and get them in elementary school, get them in junior high school, talk to the youth. But how do we explain the transition that we're going through right now and keep folks positive instead of wanting to give up, instead of not wanting to go to those events that you're having in Minnesota or wherever, Montell, right? Just seeing some hope and some purpose about being a productive citizen.
It's going to take nepotism. It's going to take nepotism. We're going to have to pull our own in, because with now the eradication of DEI, they're trying to get rid of that, and McDonald's already got rid of it. Target's on point to get rid of it. So now the diversity and inclusion acts to try to get people of color in these companies, they know how long they have to abide by those. So the ones that are in are going to have to reach back and pull some in. That's what it's going to take. We have to open up we're going to have to open the doors for others. Bottom line, there's no other way for them to do it, because they don't have to abide by anything. They don't have to abide by the act. They don't have to have a certain amount of diverse applicants if they don't want them anymore. They're not going to be held accountable for that. That's the one big thing that it kind of upset me that it's there. And people always say the best person should get the job, but the best people don't always get the opportunity. So DEI was helping us get the opportunity. Now they're saying we're not even giving you the opportunity. You mean to tell me that other races don't practice and preach nepotism all the time? We got the number 47 that brought all of his whole family work for him. And I guarantee they're not the most qualified. But guess what? It's nepotism. I'm gonna bring mine along to be able to help. we as Black and brown communities need to do the same exact thing. We really do need to adopt some type of nepotism into our thing. Yes, they need to be qualified. Yes, they need to be able to do the job. I'm not saying bring somebody that doesn't know how to do anything into the role, but we need to really look out for our own at some point.
Mm.
And if we don't look out for our own, we're gonna fall even further down by the wayside, because the fact that we didn't get a chance, 2 generations now are not going to get any kind of chances. We don't own it. We don't own it. We don't own it. We're barely in high level management positions. Me and you, James, we're in the high tech industry. How many Black CEOs have you seen?
2.
I barely even met senior management.
I've only seen
Senior
2.
management, I haven't met that many Black in senior management. And that's the level. That's not even VP level. You find a couple of those VPs, but even in senior management, I don't see a lot of us. I don't see a lot of brown. There is some, but there's not a lot. So
I've been in this
we're
field 40 years, and I can only give you 2. So yeah.
If we've been in the corporations like this for this long, and they're not giving, and it's really hard to move up the corporate ladder. Imagine how hard it's going to be just to get in. And the fact that now they're not required to get us in, or they're not going to be punished for not getting us in. There's no need to even give an opportunity to no more. So that's the one big thing from 47. What he's done over this past week is really, I think, is discouraging. That, and also, if you were born here but you're an illegal, if your parents are illegal immigrants, when you were born here,
birthright,
we're still going to chip you back. To me, I'm sorry, man. This economy can lie to itself all it's want. We need Latino people in our community. We need those immigrants that they're talking about. We need them to make our community, our communities run, because they do a lot of the jobs that people don't want to do, and they do a very good job at it. I'm sorry, you keep telling us this person kidnapped this person, and these guys are drug dealers and all that. Man, we got that in every race and every culture. That's been there. So we're gonna persecute the 97% of people that do very, very good, and the 3% that's done bad is gonna affect all 97% and ship them back because you said it and you want to make a promise. It's not humanity and it's not right. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get into those touchy subjects on this show as opposed to some other ones. But you're right, and I do want to live in a world full of diversity. I honestly, I don't want to live in a city, town, street, neighborhood.
My family's
just
diverse.
Like me either.
My family's diverse, man.
Got you.
All that other stuff. Whether you're recruited or not, we need to live in a diverse communities. We need to have diverse communities, diverse opportunities, and diverse in success. We need to have successes in all these types of things. To cut that off and say people don't have to be accountable for those things or not, guess what? I'll be honest with you. If I'm the CEO of a company and I want to bring all Black people in, I have the right to do that now. I don't have to worry about bringing no one else in. If I wanted to do that, they now have the right to be able to do that. They can just recruit all women. They don't have to recruit. They don't even have to look at men no more. That bill's going to take away a lot of things that's going on because people have to follow it. And the fact that a big retailer like Target and McDonald's have already adopted it, kind of makes me freaking mad, because it's okay for us to work the floors, but guess what? When it starts to come to upper management, they can cut it. They can shut it down. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Kevin said that's the reason why he's in California, not in Ohio anymore. Before we go on, Walton, I want you to chime in as well, again, about the state of the world, state of the union, state of this country, just again with 47 and all that. Florence was asking a question about a previous topic, and Montell was specifically to you. She says, listening and thinking about this, is there a way to create a space to bring the youth together in virtual environments to bring them through the process?
Yeah, I've done that as well. I've had we do straight from the horse's mouth for the kids that play sports to be able to understand the recruiting process. I've done virtual meetings with schools to be able to say, hey, let's get everybody in schools so they can ask all the questions. I don't need to play middleman, and you don't need to hear from uncle. You don't need to hear from cousin that thinks they know the process. Let's talk to somebody that's actually in the industry that can tell you exactly how to walk the walk and talk the talk and what you need to do. I've had those. And like I said, I've had some success in it, but I had more failure than I have success. And that's what irks me. Us as Black and brown, we need to be able to at least observe and possibly take every opportunity and advantage that we can get to ourselves to help own our own companies and build our own things and build our own infrastructure. Right now, we're still just chasing the dreams. And To me, kids don't feel education is the way to go. I know kids that rather try to become TikTok stars than to go to school. When you can actually do both, but hey, they rather do that than do this other thing. That's because they've been, or they want to become a rapper. I'm sorry, rap music is saturated, and you don't make any money off of it in the reality of the world. They rather do everything else but go get educated and go. And if you want to be a rapper, why don't you go to school, get your business degree, and learn how to be a CEO of a music industry. Instead of just being a person that's on TikTok, once you go to school and go to film school, understand, you know what, I can build my own film instruction. I'm going to do short films, and I'm going to release them on TikTok. Like, why don't you think it better? And I can give a perfect example. My daughter, she loves doing nails and hair and all those good things. She's like, I want to do nails. I want to do hair for people. Wonderful. I'm not taking that away from you. But you know what you're going to learn how to do? You're going to be the owner of the shop. You're not going to be working for somebody. You're going to learn how to do entrepreneurial so you can
learn
how to build.
learn the books.
Learn the books, learn how to get your own building, learn how for other people to work with you while you're working as well, and make your dream that way. Because at the end of the day, if nails and stuff goes away, you still have a business degree where you can leverage that for doing something else.
Love that, man. Love that. Well, how we doing? Well, talk to us, man. Okay, me and Montell then chimed in. So again, it's your industry, right? Again, now that how are you feeling? And you can go as deep as you want. Again, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus or putting anybody out there, but again, I'm concerned. Obviously, you can tell kind of Montell's concerned. We're anxious right now about what's going on, and I'm just wondering, because you're active in your church community, and again, I just wonder if you got enough of the junior ushers and the junior members that come in and have questions about what's going on. And I know it's only been 25 days in the calendar month, and he's only been in the building for a week and a half or so, but. Again, day one, oh boy, signed a lot of paperwork, and you know, a lot of people are concerned. And we don't have to get political, but again, I just want to put that out there and just be respectful as well. But just asking the question, man.
Sure. No, you know, and hopefully I don't get us a copyright claim on your channel. You know, unfortunately, President Donald Trump.
Saying that name. Okay.
Damn, son.
No, I made I made it a point this time around because when he was in office before, I referred to him as the Orange Man. That's what I referred him to, and I said, you know, this time around is going to be different for me. I have to teach my daughter and other young adults that kind of look to me for advice or just see how I walk and live my life. I have to mimic the example of respecting authority. So. Again, YouTube don't hit us with no claim. President Donald Trump, yes, he's in the office now. He signed a lot of paperwork in the last few days that, you know, there's going to have to be a lot of conversations that, again, I think we as men need to come together first and start discussing, and then being able to sit at our tables and communicate those discussions with family and particularly with our young adults. You talked about your son and me having a daughter in Syracuse and Montell working with a lot of young adults who are fearful to leave home. How do we encourage them and not that they don't allow these series of decisions he's made to discourage them about their future? One of the two things that I've always tried to share about my daughter is I want you to remember the name Carl Brashear from the movie Men of Honor. What we're seeing now is no different than what he went through. He went through a lot worse, but he was persistent. He was able to eventually get to his ultimate goal, which was to be a master Navy chief diver. But he went through racism. He even went to the point where he ended up, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Montell, I think he ended up losing part of his leg. And he ended up having amputee. But the movie demonstrated to me that no matter what obstacle that a young Black boy has to face into adulthood, if he is focused on what he feels that his gift and his passion is, he's going to see it to the end, and to the point eventually those that are opposing you are going to be instrumental in helping you to get to your goal. So that's the first life lesson that I think as men, we need to communicate with one another and then to communicate with our young adults, especially in college. And then the second movie that I share with my daughter is Hidden Figures. And
Mm,
just seeing the example and the journey that these women had to go through from being hidden figures that no one knew to now being leading ladies in their industry. But yet they still
mhm,
was faced with all the different oppositions and challenges. And so President Donald Trump has now presented us all these new things that we are now in a modern day hidden figures, men of honor situation. And
mm.
we as men have to basically get together with individuals like Montell, individuals like yourself, and begin to have these conversations to encourage. And whatever president, again, YouTube don't hit us with no claim, um, but we have to do our part, and then to help them. And part of this morning's discussion was when you have men together, your conversation has to be word based. It has to be biblically based. It has to be kingdom based. It has to be Christian based. Is it that the philosophies and ideas, the motivational speeches, the positive thinking, they've all had their place in the years to come, and it's only got us so far. But ultimately, we have to go back to what the Bible says. The Bible says in Proverbs 18:16, a man's gift will make room for them and bring them before great men. So no matter how much opposition you put before Carl Brashear, no matter how much opposition you put before James Hicks or Steve Jobs or Montell Allen or women that are like hidden figures, we've seen the examples. Ultimately, the gift will make the room, the opportunity, and bring you before people who don't realize the greatness that is on the inside of them for you to be instrumental in pulling it out. That's the message that we have to communicate. When I think of, unfortunately, some of the things that President Donald Trump has done so far.
See, I was quiet there again, letting it marinate. So
Mhm.
I'm learning to let stuff marinate right there, and that's
Well,
all right.
it's called in the Psalms Selah. Pause and calmly think about it. Just if you didn't know.
Again, they go to communion plate again, boys. We open with a word of prayer, and then Dr. Strong sent us home with the benediction. So this is what we do, man. Let's be cognizant of time, and if all minds are clear, okay, here I go again with the deacon stuff here. If all minds are clear, this is what we do, right? Unfiltered life. This was an impromptu
Yes, it
live because
was.
again we typically record, but the gentleman to my side there said, "Listen, let's go ahead and give the people a blessing." Appreciate folks for jumping in.
Mhm.
We got to had a good number throughout the session on the various channels. But Tuesdays, Saturdays is when we do this. Different hosts each time, but these two right here are original stalwarts. Is that a good word? Stalwarts. I
Mhm.
get my words right. Again, I got to get my words right. Um, y'all be safe. Y'all continue to be good. We still burning out over here in California.
Mhm.
I don't understand what's going on.
It's supposed to rain, man. It's supposed to rain tonight and through the
Yeah.
weekend. So
Yeah,
hopefully the rain
that's
Man,
what that's what
takes
they're
a lot.
saying. That's what they're saying on
Yeah.
the Weather Channel over here.
let me see.
Yeah, yeah.
Ain't no rain clouds out there.
Hey,
I'm looking
Hey
right
man.
now. Listen.
as James is checking the weather, let me say
Yeah,
to our
Yeah.
audience, I
I'm
know
gonna
this has
do
been.
live
I'm
on the
sorry.
scene weather meteorologist right there. I see nothing but bright blue skies right there. Well, it's smoky, but I see that. We'll see. I'm tripping, and I'm not gonna belabor this right now. Over the folks that we catching on video that are actually out here now starting these fires. It's not just the wind. It's not just the embers flying. We
Yeah,
actually have
yeah.
people being caught on camera and on video that are deliberately starting these fires. And
Wow.
there's a good possibility that the big one, the Palisades, was probably arson as well. And that person just need to be thrown under the jail. Okay, leave it alone.
So leave it
Because they
alone.
can't
Leave
pay
it
for the
alone.
damage.
Leave
They
it
can't
alone.
pay for the damage in Palisades and Malibu and all those places that are practically not there anymore.
Mhm.
All right. Oh, listen, we got Mr. Van Hook in the building. We got Mr. Van Hook in the building. Good folks. Good folks. We trying, brother. We trying. We trying to stay safe. We trying to stay. Florence is laughing at us. But all right. Dr. Strong, you gave the benediction, but Montell, go
Oh,
ahead
I
and take us
did.
home. Yeah, you did. You didn't even know it.
You
You
know,
gave us
you
your
know
Oh,
what?
benediction.
okay. I'm sorry.
I wanted to. I want to table one thing. Let's next week. Let's discuss
Okay.
black leadership, brown leadership, and is there a lack thereof, and on a
Okay.
national scale. We used to have we used to have that back in the 40 years ago when we had the Black Panther Party and we had Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and then we had Minister Farrakhan after that. But do we have that now? Do we have any of that now? And let's discuss that next week. I think that'll be a great topic for us to discuss black and brown leadership
So
on a national
leadership
level.
at the national level. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I think that'd be a good segue. And from that point on, man, please tune into Unfiltered, Life Unfiltered, because we're gonna open up a can of worms that I don't think people are ready for, and especially for our young African American and Latino American people. Tune in. We got some things we really want to talk about. Really,
We
really want
do.
to talk about and discuss. So if you open the discussion and open the debate, tune into us.
There you go.
Hey, listen, what he said. Hey, Mr. Van Hook,
Mhm.
listen, holler at us too if you want to come on. We can put you on. I can make room for you. We
Hey,
can put you on camera. We can put you on.
That's my
All
nephew,
right.
man. Shout out to my nephew. That's my
I know,
nephew.
right? He over there.
Yeah,
He over
yeah,
there
yeah.
checking us out on Facebook. Yeah, check us out, man.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know. Holler at Montell, and he'll tell you what we do. All right, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all be
hey.
good to yourself. We appreciate you. We are out.